What's up, everybody? Welcome back into TK Wrestling, and we are here for our Backlash 2026 predictions show. Matt, the ripple effect of WrestleMania is still being felt throughout the wrestling world. It was a weird road to WrestleMania, and now it is even weirder on the other side of WrestleMania. We already talked a little bit about the WWE releases and our opinions on that and TKO's impact on the wrestling world now. But right now, we are talking about the show Backlash. At Backlash, we will have, what is it, 5 matches? Was that the full card? I think
One,
it's 5.
2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I've got 5 right now. Yep.
Yeah, so
5
five
as of now.
matches, only 2 title matches on the night, and
Bunch of
look, I think
rivalry matches though,
yeah. We talked about this a little bit in the releases video, but this really feels like a PLE where we're going to be wrapping up basically all of these rivalries. And then
Oh,
with Roman Reigns now being pulled from all his June dates, we don't really
right.
know what the future holds for him. Again, we've talked about the impact of TKO and all the releases and everything that's going on with all of that. Go check that out. But Matt, how you feeling beside all the releases and TKO impact? How you feeling about this PLE going into it? Because like you said, it feels like we were just waiting and complaining about WrestleMania taking too long to get here. Now we're at Backlash already.
I guess maybe I didn't even think about that. Yeah, no, it does feel like we are right into Backlash, Like I could have waited another week, maybe. Like I don't usually say that, whereas I wanted like WrestleMania like 3 weeks earlier. I could have maybe waited another week on Backlash, but at the same time, this card's pretty interesting, I think, from top to bottom. And I know you think I don't know the winners of any of these matches, I don't think. Like I've been going back and forth on this, Casey. Like you seem pretty set that you know where you think the storylines are going to go post Backlash, right? I don't know, man. So I don't know where you want to start. I know you've got him on the list. If you want to start with my man and Braun.
Yeah, let's start right there. So we're going to start off with Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker. And now Seth Rollins is the former leader of the division. Of course, last year was turned on by Braun Breaker. And now we are seeing the culmination of that rivalry. Don't know if it's going to be a one-time thing, if they're going to have... I think this would have been a trilogy had we gotten the first one at WrestleMania. But now I'm not so sure. We might see one, and then there might be a good time in between. Maybe Seth wins the Rumble next year, and Braun's the World Heavyweight Champion. Who knows? Who knows where they'll go? But as of this weekend, we finally get them one-on-one. And Braun Breaker's been getting the upper hand on Seth Rollins, and he was left laying on Monday Night Raw with Braun Breaker sitting over him saying, "You almost got me, Seth. You almost got me." And you talked about this in the releases reactions video that we did, that maybe it feels as though the torch is kind of already being passed, and WWE is trying to say, "Hey, look, get comfortable because Braun's the guy, and Seth is going to be knocked down a peg or two." So I know you said you don't really know where most of these matches are going, but Seth is your guy, so I'm going to let you start off here. So Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker. Matt, what you got?
All right, buckle up, everyone. This is going to be like a hot minute kind of thing. All right, first off, if TKO is too much involved, I feel like the writing's on the wall for Seth. I feel like we might have already seen the best of Seth that we're going to see, and now Seth is going to go down and maybe be retired in 3 years. I feel like that's what TKO would love. I think TKO is ready to retire CM Punk. Like, where's Punk been lately? We ain't seen Punk lately, really, since WrestleMania. I think they're ready to retire Punk. They're ready to retire Seth, and they're not sure what to do about Roman, because Roman is Roman. And but at the same time, like, Roman's about the same age as Seth, right? Right? Aren't they about the same age?
Yeah, they've got to be really close.
Yeah. So but I got to imagine that they're turning to Roman and giving Roman the same, like, this might be your last run sort of thing. And Roman's like, whoa, wait a second, what do you mean my last run? So anyways, but that's beside the point. So let's throw that out there. Let's just go purely on what BW is giving me, though. I'm so intrigued by the Street Profits and Joe Henry in this whole mix of this weird thing where I didn't really think about it. Like, I thought Seth was just better liked backstage, quote unquote, in kayfabe than apparently he is, because he would be rivaling with CM Punk and Roman, and those guys aren't exactly popular backstage either. So I figured Seth. It's interesting to find out Seth doesn't have any friends backstage. I love the way Montez Ford comes at him. Like, that's so refreshing in a way that when Braun does it, it's not. Like, like, that's just hatred. Montez Ford is just like, get out of my way, man. Just, you are not the center of the universe. And I love that. I love this Montez Ford Seth dynamic that we're getting. I have no idea where it's going, though, man. Are we going to, like, end up with some 4-on-4 match where it's where it's the Vision tag team of Logan and Austin Theory, and then we're going to get Braun and Bronson in there versus, the Street Profits and Joe Hendry and Seth Rollins. Joe Hendry's the most out of place one in this whole thing.
Well, I really don't feel like Joe Hendry is long for this. I don't think
that's what I'm saying. He's the most out of
this one. Yeah.
He's the most out of place, but I love his rivalry with Logan Paul right now, or whatever he's doing with Logan Paul pushing those buttons. And I love that the Street Profits are getting involved because we didn't know what the Street Profits, we didn't even know they're going to be together anymore, right? Like we thought they might be splitting up. We might be seeing Montez Ford going on some sort of solo run. So that's all to say that there is a huge possibility for what this storyline could be, depending on what they're really trying to set up. And I don't know. Do we see Joe Hendry or the Street Profits or do we see them come screw up this Braun Breaker Seth Rollins match? Or is it just going to be Seth, Braun, and Paul? Because, man, I tell you what, dude, Braun has been looking mean lately. Like, I think not only did Braun maybe get a little taken aback when Brock came back. Like, I don't know, like, when Braun joined the Vision, if Brock was ever in talks of coming back to WWE. You know what I mean? So it's partly that, but then seeing Oba and what Oba's doing, right? And now Oba's the big, strong, hulking man. And yeah, Braun Breaker is not 6'5" or whatever. There's nobody's doubting that. But my God, dude, that guy he was still tossing dudes, He was still tossing them the other night. He's still trying, and like you said, he's leaned down, as you pointed out. When they come back from being injured, they're usually in the best shape ever. The dude is just leaned down, looking good. As much as I want to hate Braun Breaker because I'm Seth Rollins, I am extremely impressed, and I feel like they are really pushing him hard, and he is taking every opportunity right now. I think he sees, like I said, Obafemi come up, and like Trick Williams even maybe, who knows? Just these other guys coming up, and he's like, wait, what about my time? Don't skip my time.
Well,
don't just bypass me.
We can talk about the hypotheticals about who may get involved or what TKO's reach, but Matt, you got to give a prediction. So I know you love Seth, but you're saying that
I feel like Braun's going to win this, but I don't know what happens. Like I said, I feel like there could be a lot of interference, and this could be the beginning of some, like I said, positive relationship between like the Street Profits and Seth, or Joe Hendry and Seth. Who knows? But no, but straight up this match, I feel like Braun wins, and I feel like he might even win clean. Like he's not going to have the Vision out there with the distraction. I feel like I said, I feel like it's just him and Paul Heyman at the ring. So I think Braun wins this after avoiding a stomp, because that's what it's going to be. Because if Seth hits that stomp, it's over. So right. I think that move has been proven to be a move. Has anybody ever kicked out of the stomp? I would probably look it up.
I'm sure, because if not, I'm sure they would be pushing it as such. But
it seems like every time he uses the stomp, at least lately, nobody's getting up. At least
I'd have to look into it, but I'm pretty positive someone has at some point.
Right. I'm sure, yeah.
We'll talk a little bit more about Joe Hendry later, but in terms of Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins, I don't know, man. I feel like Braun Breaker is the guy that's probably going to win, but I'm just a little curious about what happens with Seth after. And again, is this going to be multiple matches? Is this going to be a one-off? And then if Braun does win, what's next for Braun?
Right.
We're not getting Braun Breaker and Roman Reigns or Braun Breaker and Jacob Fatu this soon. I would assume not. And so I guess I just wonder if this is not a multi-match feud, where do both of these guys go next? So I almost feel like this benefits from being like a multi-series or a multi-match series between these two. Maybe you have the first one at Backlash. Maybe you have the second one at Clash in Italy. And if that's going to be the case, then I think Seth should actually win the first one. And then Braun Breaker should probably win the second one and just destroy Seth, so that way Seth can be off of TV for a while. Then have Seth come back right before SummerSlam, and then we get the rubber match at SummerSlam between Braun and Seth. And that can be the ultimate final match between these two for now, which I think Braun Breaker should win. And then in the scheme of the World Championship, where we see everybody, how the landscape will be changing going into SummerSlam, that makes more sense to me. So for this match, with the assumption that we are going to get a multi-match series out of these three, give me Seth Rollins. I'm taking Seth to beat Braun Breaker at Backlash. So
all right.
I like that we're at least going different ways to start, because I'm sure we'll agree on pretty much all of them for the rest of the show, because we usually do.
If Seth wins, does Seth win clean, or does somebody come out? Does Braun get distracted by the Vision or something? Does Seth
It'll
win
probably,
clean?
I mean, look, I see the Vision and the Street Profits getting involved in this for sure. So it'll probably be, I don't know if it'll be what you consider clean or if it'll be via distraction or whatever. There will be some shenanigans. I don't think it's going to be straight up Seth just wins.
Now this is the ESPN match, right?
Yeah.
So this, like you said, this is like the pre-match before it goes on the quote unquote pay-per-view. I mean, right? Or
Right.
the PLE side. So I'm hoping that this match is a banger because so far I think like both WrestleMania or all 4 WrestleMania matches were bangers, right?
Yeah, they were.
So this should be a banger, and this should last for a good hot minute. This could be a brawl. I mean, it should be a brawl. This should be
a 20-minute match.
Somebody better bleed, man. I know it's on ESPN, but somebody better bleed.
I don't think this is a big enough stage for anybody to bleed just yet, but I could see this being like a 20-minute match and then it being on ESPN for that first hour. I could see there being shenanigans just so you get as many names involved as possible.
Right.
Well, I have to see what Division and Street Profits are doing next, and then if Joe Hendry gets involved,
well,
I have to see what Joe Hendry's doing.
Well, they want to show Logan Paul probably on ESPN, so the Vision probably going to be out there in some way. And I wonder how big Joe Hendry could be. I feel like before Danhausen, for me, he was the biggest get I thought, WWE could get. Don't get me wrong. I've been happy with Oba and Javon bringing him up from NXT. But I've been talking about Joe Hendry since a year? And just because he's just got a fun gimmick, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, just like Danhausen, you are cursed. That's a fun gimmick. Say his name and he appears,
Well, I feel like they also should have capitalized on the Joe Hendry hype like a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Probably. No, they did. They did wait on it. Yeah.
And I get it. He had contracts and stuff going on. He did have the WrestleMania match against Orton, if you want to call that little 5-minute squash a match. But yeah, we both agree that everybody's going to be out here. But where we see it going is obviously different, so I'm a big fan of that. All right, well, jumping into the second match, let me pull up notes. All right, so jumping into the second match, we have, again, a match that we talked about was drastically affected by the recent releases, and that was Io Sky versus Asuka up next. And look, the biggest question for this one is, are we going to see like a repeat of the R-Truth situation where R-Truth gets let go and then he shows up, intervenes, and then whatever. I've even seen some people saying that maybe they'll let Kyrie show up just as a one-time, like she's not coming back, but this is her way of like paying off her story before she is gone for good. Because according to rumors, Kyrie Sane had been let it be known over the last few months or whatever that she was really missing home. She really wanted to go back to Japan. And so apparently this was WWE's way of obliging that and taking care of Kyrie and letting her go back home. And the rumors are already saying and swirling that she's already back in Japan. So I think the likelihood of Kyrie actually showing up is pretty small. It's pretty minuscule. But I won't say never. Of course, there's a chance that she shows up. But for me, I'm going to say that we don't get Kyrie Sane. Kyrie Sane is not showing up tonight. I feel like maybe there's a chance that someone else could interfere. Maybe if it's to set up Asuka or Io Sky. Don't ask me a name. I'm just saying I wouldn't be shocked if someone does. I just wouldn't be shocked if they set up something because, again, this feels like the end of a feud. And so with no direction on the way either of these go, what if Io Sky does win? Because I'll tell you right now, I'm picking Io Sky to win. And so what if Io does win and then Becky Lynch comes out and attacks her? Because a few weeks ago, Io tried to face Becky for that Intercontinental Championship and Asuka got involved. It didn't go the way Io wanted it to go. So what if that's the next stage for Io Sky, is that Women's Intercontinental Championship through Becky? So I'm not saying that I have like a whole bunch of names on the top of my head that could get involved. I just wouldn't be shocked if at some point in this segment someone does get involved in some capacity. But in terms of just the one-on-one match, because I don't think Kyrie Sane shows up, give me Io Sky, because unless you're going to push Asuka up to the Women's Championship, I don't see any reason for her to really win this. She's the big bad. And unless you're going to really invest in the big bad, I feel like Io has the higher stock right now out of the two women. Invest in Io. Let her get the win over her senpai who has been abusing her and her friend Kyrie. Basically, I'm shocked they didn't bring that up into the storyline. Like, you ran Kyrie out of you ran her back home to Japan or something like that. You were so bad to Kyrie that she had to disappear from the business or whatever it may have been. but give me Io to overcome the evil master that is Asuka, and for them to finally, hopefully, put this to bed and be done with it.
All right. Look, I guess for me, I've never doubted that Kyrie's coming back. I felt like this. I felt like this was the R-Truth thing as soon as they kind of did it. This was one that maybe like it was just a contract was up. They hadn't re-signed her yet, and they thought they could probably kayfabe this and have fun with it. Whereas that's what they planned to do with R-Truth, but that's how the R-Truth ended up being, was they ended up saving face. But I thought, I can't imagine Kyrie's really gone. I could see her being gone, but not before the storyline's finished, maybe. So, and then I've heard conflicting rumors about whether or not she really wants to be in Japan. Like, that some of that is like, WWE saying that to save face. So I don't know. I have no idea. But I in my brain, she's coming. She's here. But I'm with you. Regardless, Io wins this. This has to be it, right? This one has to be over, right? We have to be at least so. We don't need an Io Asuka trilogy or something like that. We need a definitive final ending. I want there to be a creative way the poison mist is used. Whether it's that it's used on Io. And she beats Asuka still without being able to see, or whatever. Just something. I
think I actually agree with you because I think the mist is going to get used, but I think Io's going to see it coming, duck it, and then Asuka's going to blind the ref, and then Io's going to make her come back. We get a new ref out. Io wins with the moonsault, and yeah, I think the mist will backfire on Asuka, but I do think it'll be used.
No, that was going to be my other thing. Or I didn't think the ref. So the refs are great. I didn't know where it would go, but that she dodged it or whatever.
Or maybe Io uses it on Asuka. Maybe.
See, I didn't want to go there. I didn't want to go.
Maybe she. Well, it's her senpai, and it's like, hey, look, I got you with your own trick. But it's in the heat of war. It's like I got you with your own trick, and now it's the student has learned from the master and bested with their own trick. So
I'd be down for that. I'd be down for that. Like if she dodged it and then immediately hit her with it.
Yeah.
Like that would be cool. It's like not only did you not get it, but I got it, like I said, right when you yeah. So yeah, no, I could be down for it in that sense. Like I said, if it's an immediate.
Yeah. We got to have something. I would even like to see maybe Asuka has it and Io catches her with a kick and Asuka like sprays it up in the air or whatever. And when she goes back down to fight, that's when Io hits her with it, spits it back at her instead.
Right.
That would be a good way to get the camera off of Io so Io could maybe like do whatever she's got to do and then the mist could be ready. So I don't know the whole logistics behind the mist and when they set it up and stuff like that. But yeah, we both agree Io's got to win here. And this has got to be it. This has got to be the end of this rivalry.
Yeah. This has got to be it for a while, I mean, at least turn this off because I can always see them coming back at each other, or screwing with one another like some later thing. Like maybe like you said, if Io goes on and her and Beck, I guess Asuka already did that, but you get what I'm saying. Like I could see like in 6 months or whatever, WrestleMania, maybe even Asuka showing up and screwing Io over again and just laughing and leaving, but who knows? But yeah, but overall, Io needs a new storyline. She needs something, and I'm not sure what you do with Asuka though. Like you said,
that was my biggest concern.
Like, where do you take her next? She's what? Remind me the name of the girls that just joined.
Who? Fatal Influence.
Yeah.
Over on JC Jane and her crew.
Mm-hmm.
What about them?
I don't know. I can see Asuka getting involved with that somehow.
In terms of like joining the group because they're all.
I don't know. I just something maybe trying to mentor them and not.
I couldn't see that. I think the group is over. I think the group is over enough without Asuka. And I know I keep saying this, and sometimes it doesn't matter, but they are on separate brands.
Right. Well, I don't know if you keep Asuka.
But
I don't know if you keep Asuka on Raw. After this either. I think you might move her to SmackDown. That might be.
That wouldn't be a bad idea. That wouldn't be a bad idea
because I think SmackDown needs it. I mean, if nothing else, like Tiffany Stratton, right? I think a Tiffany Stratton Asuka match could be fun. Yeah,
like, Asuka and Julia could be fun.
Whenever, yeah. So I feel like she needs to move brands.
Yeah, that'd be, and then you could always have Asuka go over there and be a threat to Rhea in terms of like giving Rhea some title defenses.
That would be fun too, like having an Asuka Rhea thing start, like because she left the Io thing. Like I said, I just see Asuka moving brands after this. How about that? There's my number 2 prediction. Number 1, the mist is going to be used against her in some way, and number 2, that she changes brand soon.
All right. Well, talking about SmackDown, let's jump over to a match that is majority SmackDown superstars and one that kind of jumps back and forth. We have the tag team match. It is The Miz and Kit Wilson going up against Danhausen and a mystery partner. Now, Matt, the biggest question, of course, going into this match is who is the mystery partner for Danhausen? And Matt, I've got some betting odds for you. I have betting odds on who will be Danhausen's partner. Now, Can you guess, if you just had to throw out a guess, who do you think is the number one option in terms of odds on who will be Danhausen's partner? If you just had to throw out a random guess, you may not. John Cena is on the list, but he's pretty far down there. John Cena is fourth from the bottom in terms of odds. This guy is someone that Danhausen has a connection with, is friends with in real life. They're from the same city.
Oh, is it CM Punk?
CM Punk, baby. CM Punk is currently the odds-on favorite at a negative 200 to be the partner for Danhausen. Now, let me go in order because I told you we were going to talk about Joe Hendry because Joe Hendry is next. He is at a plus 200. And honestly, out of all the names on this list, I don't hate the Joe Hendry shout. I think that Joe Hendry and Danhausen together would be pretty good. Up next at a plus 300, we've got Mr. Iguana. Then at a plus 400, which Mr. Iguana, of course, would actually kind of work. Mr. Iguana and Danhausen would be a funny little duo. And all right, so after that, I got to say it because it's on the list. At a plus 400, we've got Jelly Roll. At a plus 450, we've got Kit Wilson's old partner, Elton Prince. Now,
I saw that. That was interesting. I don't. You said he's still not healthy though, or is he healthy yet?
I don't think so, man. Like that was he had neck surgery, and I think he had the neck surgery only 6 or 7 months ago. I just wouldn't bank on him being ready to go yet.
But
if he is, hey, look, man,
that would be interesting. That would be,
dude. Yeah. If he is, I'm all for it, and kudos to him for getting healthy, and kudos for WWE for thinking of it. But I just don't see Elton Prince being the guy. All right, at a plus 500, we've got Carmelo Hayes. Of course, he's got history with The Miz, and Carmelo has made it very clear that he likes money, and he likes his jewelry, and he likes to look good. Because we know Danhausen's got 40,000. You know, canonically, he took 40,000 from The Miz.
400 U.S. money.
But 400 human monies.
My bad.
But then The Miz said he just took $40,000.
I know. Yeah. So, he only thinks he's got 400.
Right. And so he's going to go up to somebody, hey, I got $400, 400 human monies. And so, all right. So I don't think it's Carmelo Hayes. Up next at plus 600, I don't hate this one. Royce Keys. Royce Keys is somebody they've been trying to push and get to the masses. Wouldn't be shocked if it's Royce Keys. Plus 800, we've got R-Truth. Of course, the comedy gimmicks working together. All right, I guess I could see it. But R-Truth would call him Oscar the whole time. That's how it would have to go. And then we go from an 800 to a 1,000. At plus 1,000, we've got two names, Matt Cardona and Shinsuke Nakamura, both tied at plus 1,000. Can't see either one of those. We've got Johnny Gargano at plus 1,500. Don't see it. John Cena is here at plus 2,000.
I'm surprised he's so low given he's going to be there.
Well, I think that John Cena is legitimately done. And we can talk about the John Cena stuff in just a minute because I think I know what it is. And then a name that we haven't talked about and a name we haven't seen for a while, Matt. A guy that some people are nervous might be part of these next round of cuts. At 2,500, we've got LA Knight. And we haven't seen LA Knight since WrestleMania. Haven't heard anything from him. I wouldn't be...
I didn't realize that LA Knight's been missing too. That's... Damn.
Yeah, and so a lot of people are worried about what might happen for LA Knight. Now, the funniest, I'm going to skip one because at the plus 3,000 is actually my pick. But at the plus 5,000, the craziest one, because he's been talking a lot of smack to WWE wrestlers and stuff like that and in the media, is actually ESPN personality Stephen A. Smith at plus 5,000. Yeah. And look, I don't think he's going to be involved in it, but there's at least some merit to this. He's been involved in the WWE stuff lately.
Didn't he talk smack? Because I remember Danhausen cursed his Knicks.
Yep.
So, I mean, I can't imagine that him and Danhausen are on good terms.
Yeah, that's a good point. That is a good point. Why would they tag together?
Yeah. I could see a difference if he cursed the team the Knicks were playing. That would make sense. But yeah.
All right. And at plus 3,000, my pick, who I think is going to be Danhausen's mystery partner, is none other than the ruler, Oba Femi, is at a plus 3,000. I'm picking Oba Femi, dude. Look, if you're asking me, character-wise, why would Oba Femi tag with Danhausen? Money. It doesn't have to be that complicated. Like,
well, no, but not only that, but Obafemi, hasn't he already squashed both the Miz and Kit Wilson?
yeah, exactly. That's another thing. They have history.
Yeah,
And
so
like
they've already got
we've
some
talked
ring
about
history.
this. How funny would it be seeing Danhausen and the seriousness of Obafemi together, where Oba's like, look, man, I really don't want to be here, but you paid me a lot of money, and this is going to keep me fresh for my open challenge on Monday. So then you can have Obafemi in front of the masses, because he's obviously your future. That's obviously who you're building around. Have him go out there and basically squash two guys, 1-on-2 with Danhausen cheering him on, like you said in our group text, or in our text between each other. And then on top of that, now you can push even more people towards his open challenge on Monday Night Raw. And on top of that, we'll talk about the Obafemi Open Challenge in another match. Additionally to all this, we could see a situation of where The Miz is like, no, I'm going back to Monday Night Raw and I'm getting my money back from Obafemi. And now we see a situation where Obafemi goes 1-on-2 in a handicap match against The Miz and Kit Wilson for his open challenge. And so then you not only get to see Obafemi in this tag match, but then you get to push him in front of audiences, you get to push his open challenge, and then you get to see him squash two guys at the same time all by himself on Monday Night Raw. So this just feels like a win-win to me. And look, if you go to my bookie, you can bet on WWE stuff there. If Obafemi is a plus 3,000, throw $5 on there and win 60. Like, what's the worst case scenario? If you got big bucks, throw 100 on it and you just made $3,000, dude. Like, so look, Obafemi makes a lot more sense to me than a lot of the other guys above him. The only two guys that I would put above CM Punk or above Obafemi are CM Punk and Joe Hendry. Those are the only two guys that I see making as much sense as Obafemi. But give me Oba to be the mystery partner, absolutely destroy them, and then Obafemi and Danhausen standing tall together before Oba starts to like buck up, and then Danhausen's like, oh, and then poof and just runs away, does the little shimmy away. So I think it'd be a really fun moment. I think it'd be great for the audience watching at home, but also there. And yeah, give me Obafemi. I think Obafemi's my guy to be Danhausen's mystery partner.
That'd be funny if afterwards Oba's like, give me my money. And Danhausen peels off 400 bills. He's like, here's 400 human. He's like, I knew how much I had.
That would be great, actually.
I knew how much I had. I knew I had.
And then 40. Oba's holding it, and he's like, and he goes, and that's when Dan runs away. Yeah, okay. I actually love that. I hope that does happen if it's Oba. But Matt, I gotta know. I think you're obviously gonna pick Danhausen and whoever the partner is to win. But who do you have as the partner?
Man, I remember us talking about Oba now that you mentioned. Like I said, I forgot about that even being. Look, I think that's a great odds on. So I'm gonna leave that and say that I probably agree with you. But let me give you the other one that I kind of would like to see, because like you mentioned a couple that, I mean, CM Punk does fit. You're right, but I don't see it being CM Punk. Joe Hendry fits. I don't think you want to cross over their sticks yet. You know what I mean? They both have comedic. I think you want to keep your comedic guys. It's the same reason I wouldn't bring R-Truth. I don't know why R-Truth's even on that list.
Yeah, but Matt, you know how Joe Hendry does the whole like turn around to the camera thing? Mm-hmm. Imagine him and Danhausen doing it together. You know, at the same time. Yeah. Like, come on, man. Like, see, I know you're saying you don't want to do it, but like,
give it. No, I'm just saying I don't want to do it yet. I'm saying like, give it a couple months and let Joe Hendry more establish himself to the regular, because maybe, like I said, maybe he's well enough known throughout that it would be. But I'm just saying, wait until it's like more of a common WWE thing, maybe. But dude, Oba. But the one name that was on the list that I was like, man, that would be cool though if it was. Like, it's not going to be, but the guy I want now, I want Shinsuke Nakamura. I think Shinsuke and Danhausen could be a really badass looking duo, dude. I think they would look incredible. Their costumes could whatever, you know. I could see that being just, you know, baller as can be. So it's not going to happen. I think your Oba pick is way too low. I'm with you. I think Oba is probably one of the most likely. I mean, that just makes sense. It's not going to be Cena. I threw Cena out there. I don't know why Cena's there. I'm sure Cena really is never wrestling again. But if he was going to get into a match, I feel like it'd be a match where he'd have to do practically nothing, which would be a match where the two opponents are cursed, and it could just be and I could see Cena doing a great comedy match. If he wasn't officially retired with the idea that he wasn't going to wrestle again, this would be the fun reason to wrestle again. A complete comedy match where just things happen. Like, he just has to run over and he doesn't even hit the Miz or something, like something explodes or whatever it may be. You know, I can see Cena playing that really well. But anyways, I'm just going to probably go with you on the Oba, but I would love to see Shinsuke, just because I feel like those two coming out would look badass. And I feel like Shinsuke would be one guy that would make The Miz and Kit Wilson nervous, you know? That's not a guy that either of them want to wrestle. Like I said, they definitely don't want to wrestle Oba, but I feel like on that list, I feel like The Miz feels like he could beat a lot of those guys. I think one guy neither of them really want to wrestle, even if they think they could win, is Shinsuke. Because that dude is just, you know, little intense.
Man, I tell you what, we've been talking about setting up our reactions for like wrestling stuff. I can't wait to show you debut NXT Shinsuke Nakamura and like show you his stuff in New Japan, because I tell you what, man, they have neutered Shinsuke Nakamura in his WWE career, I think. And so I'm not going to spend too long on that, but I just can't wait to show you some old Shinsuke stuff. My favorite match of all time has Shinsuke in it.
I mean, look. One of the best matches of the year, and probably a match nobody really talks about, is the Shinsuke AJ Styles match. That match, dude, that was one of the most intense, hard-hitting, like, I mean, I thought they were literally killing each other at points. Like, I don't know how they pulled off some of those moves to make them look as impactful as they were without them being impactful. So, I mean, just...
Well, and that's Shinsuke's whole thing, you know. He's the king of strong style, and he was really... I don't want to say he created strong style, but he was like a really big... I don't know if innovator is the right word, but he became the king of strong style for a reason. Like he really resonated with that and embodied strong style. And have I ever shown you the his debut match in NXT with Sami Zayn?
I don't think I've seen that one. I've seen some old Shinsuke, but I mean, like, because I know he took a... Did he get hurt or did he take a break for a minute?
He's had a few injuries here and there.
5 years ago or something. I remember he was just off for a while or something.
He probably took a big injury break, but he, I think, was also going through some stuff like in his personal life and stuff like that. And
I remember like he took some break.
Kind of complicated a lot of things.
That's why it was like 5 years ago. It was the pandemic. It was injury. It was something. And then he came back. And I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I haven't seen... That match was the first match with AJ Styles that I saw that gave me the Shinsuke that I'd seen like prior to that, you know? Because I don't think I've seen a Shinsuke match since he's been back that was as incredible as an AJ Styles match was. So, yeah, I feel like, you know, Shinsuke's one guy that even if I think I can beat him, I don't want to wrestle him. I just don't, because I know it's going to hurt or I know it's going to be a match, you know? So,
well, I'll tell you what, when we get our Patreon and reaction set up, our first set of reactions we're going to do are going to be to some of the greatest matches of all time. And in lieu of another greatest match, I'm just going to throw in my favorite match. I'm going to throw in that Shinsuke and Sami Zayn, because I'm not saying it's the best technically wrestled match of all time. And I'm not saying it's like, you know, again, I'm not saying it's the best of the best, but it's my favorite. Sammy's reaction from the crowd, because Sami was like a full-blown NXT babyface. Like he was the fan favorite that everybody was cheering from, and Shinsuke was like this mythical figure from overseas in Japan that whenever it was announced, everybody was like, holy shit, Shinsuke Nakamura is not only coming to WWE, but he's coming to NXT to start. And then Shinsuke was the first guy to hold the NXT championship twice. He was really one of the black and gold NXT pioneers, I think. And his match with Sami Zayn, for that to be his first NXT match, just man, it was so great. I could probably tell you the match step for step as it's happened. I've seen it so many times. But yeah, that'll be on our list that we watch for sure. But
there you go. A mythical figure, Shinsuke Nakamura, with a mythical figure, Danhausen. Like I said, that's the one I want. But I'm with you. I think Oba might, for me, I don't know why he's so low. Oba for me should be the odds-on favorite.
This just feels like the random moment that we're like, crap, it's Oba. And then
why would you not want this guy in the like, unless he gets a match tonight at Backlash, why would you not want Oba Femi in your PLE? I would think you'd want him as often as you could get him, you know?
Well, Matt, you know, we were just talking about a few years ago for Shinsuke Nakamura taking a break in the pandemic and all that happened. I don't know if you heard about them, going sidetrack for a second, but I don't know if you heard about this cruise ship with the Matt is very popular today, fellas.
Oh, yeah.
Matt is I told Matt this week when I woke up on Monday morning, I had missed calls from like 4 or 5 people. And I felt like an office that had just opened up for office hours on a Monday morning when everybody's trying to call me at the same time. But I don't know if you've been following about this cruise ship that's stuck out in sea right now because of the hantavirus.
I heard something about like 2 people got I saw something like that.
Well, 2 people in the States are now being monitored for hantavirus. And look, I'm not fear mongering anybody here. I got vaccinated. I wore my masks. Look, you can think whatever you want about it. At the end of the day, I was trying to keep my pregnant wife safe. So it is what it is. But if this hantavirus gets out, it's not going to be great, folks. So start stocking up your toilet paper now, because everybody's going to buy it all. Start getting some canned foods, and get ready to start growing your own food in your backyard, because we might be stuck inside for a while again. So who knows, man? But yeah, I literally just got a notification not even 5 minutes ago that 2 people in the States are now being monitored for that.
Great.
So, woohoo. All right. So back to Backlash. We talked about John Cena, Matt, and John Cena is going to be here for a historic announcement.
Is it going to be Club WWE that they've been pushing? That's
exactly what it's going to be, Matt. God. It's going to be the Club WWE stuff. Whenever he said it's not going to be perfect, it might not be perfect, whatever, I knew that it was going to be something that we have to pay extra money for. And that's what Club WWE is going to be. It's going to be a subscription service that gives you extra access to things. It's supposed to give you like discounted ticket rates and access to meet and greets, to purchase those meet and greets first and foremost. It's just a way for you to spend more money to spend more money. And at the end of the day, that's what WWE is nowadays. They're corporate. And I mean, they've always been about making money. Don't get me wrong. But it's only about money now. Let's not get it twisted. It's about making as much money as possible. And having John Cena here to announce whatever Club WWE is going to be about. I mean, look, all the advertisements for it that we've seen in the last few weeks have been voiced by John Cena. So the fact that he's now showing up right after WrestleMania, it's got to be Club WWE. And I do want to say, you're spot on about if he's going to do a one-off where it's just going to be a comedic thing, this would be perfect with Danhausen, where he's out there to announce the Club WWE stuff, and then he's interrupted by The Miz and Kit Wilson, and then Danhausen comes out, and he's like, well, Cena, I know you're retired, but I've got 400 human monies here if you want to make a little extra money today.
And I know you like making money because you're plugging WWE Club right now.
There you go. So Danhausen's like, I'm ready to be an investor at the ground floor or whatever. So it would be perfect. I don't think it's going to happen. And maybe we even see a situation like that, where Danhausen is asking John Cena to be his partner. And John Cena's like, well, look, guys, I'm really retired, but I do have somebody that would tag with you. And that's when he can introduce whoever will be Danhausen's partner or something like that. And you can make that Obafemi. You can make that whoever will be the mystery partner. But yeah, to answer your question, it's going to be WWE Club. Zero doubts about it for me. So get ready for a WWE Club plug, everybody. It's going to be $40 a month or something. I don't know. I don't even really know exactly.
I don't even know what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
Like, it's just, what are you doing, WWE? Now I'll tell you what, if WWE is $40 a month and they send me a t-shirt and like you get like a mystery box, a bundle box sort of thing, and you get like a t-shirt,
I'm listening. Yeah, I'm listening.
A Funko Pop or something, whatever, an exclusive pack of Topps WWE cards, something like that. Yeah, now I'm listening. But it's probably going to be like, whatever, get more Stephanie McMahon interviews.
It's going to be podcast exclusives. It's going to be 10% off tickets. It's going to be first in line to buy exclusive meet and greets with people. Again, it's going to be your way to get the foot in the door to buy more WWE stuff. It's just going to be, this is for the people that go to the live events already. And like, sorry, I'm not one of those people. And because they don't come around me nearly as often as a lot of other bigger cities. But B, I just can't afford to go to those shows year round whenever they cost as much as they do. And me spending all that extra money a month to get 10% off tickets that I might go to a show once a year, you got to make it worth it, WWE. Whatever you're going to do, you got to make it worth it. So I don't know. We'll see. But in terms of what John Cena is doing, yeah, he's plugging WWE Club. So get ready for that. All right. Another match that I think should be ending the rivalry here. Trick Williams versus Sami Zayn for the United States Championship. Now, this rivalry has kind of gotten a little weird with the whole gingerbread man thing and all that stuff. Did you hear Trick Williams' promo on SmackDown this past week where he said, Sammy, something along the lines of like, Sammy, I'm coming for that ass. And if you ask the legend herself, because he's with Lash Legend, I get that ass whenever I want or something like that. And I was like,
something like that. Yeah.
I remember. Yeah. What? I was like, what are we doing? What are we doing? But yeah, look, man, I got to be real with you. I like Sammy and I like Trick. I think that they're both ready to move on to something different, and I think this should be the last match for them in this rivalry, at least for now. Sammy's got to move on to the world title picture at some point, and Trick's got to move on to some newer talent. If it's Trick and Carmelo Hayes already, cool. If it's Trick and Ilya Dragunov already, cool. Give us somebody new for Trick and somebody new for Sammy. I don't know which direction it is for both of those guys as of yet, but I know that this needs to end. And in order for that to end, I think Trick needs to retain the championship. I think Trick needs to have a pretty lengthy reign with this title. I don't think it should be hot-shotted between guys anymore as much as it was over the past 6 to 8 months. I think Trick should hold this for 6 to 8 months at least. So give me Trick retaining here, and then both of them moving on to bigger and better things for both guys. Hopefully a heel turn for Sammy down the line.
This one's tough, man. I mean, just because I'm trying to envision the match, like, is Lil Yachty done? You know, we're going to have like a gingerbread man ceremony. Are we having that at SmackDown Friday? You know, like it's been such a weird story.
Yeah, dude, that's what I was saying. It took some turns that I'm just like, okay, I think I'm just ready for this to be over. Like, and I get it. Silliness is in wrestling all the time. I'm not saying that things can't be silly, but it almost feels like it's not so silly anymore. And it's just like, what are we doing? You know, like what exactly is going on?
It's very surreal, man. You know, I mean, so it's been one that I've enjoyed, but I don't know where else you take it. But God, we really got to have Sami Zayn go heel, man. Like that's just the bottom line. Like we got to have evil Sammy come out. And I kind of, if this wasn't for the title, right, I'd have Sammy winning probably as Darth Sammy or Darth Zayn, you know, I'd have him winning this. But since it's for the title, I don't. But what if he wins by DQ or whatever? But then I feel like then we're going to have a rematch because we're not going to let it go. So the only way it gets let go is if Trick wins. But man, I got to have Sammy go heel somehow. So I'm just kind of stuck here. Casey, this is like I said, this is why these are hard to pick for me because I really want Sammy heel. And I don't want him to go heel post-match, like where he decides, after, you know. I mean, I feel like we've kind of seen that already with him tearing up the gingerbread man and whatnot. So I just want him to go full heel, man. I'm just kind of torn on how you do that and have him lose without it being like just, and I want Trick to get a lot of offense in maybe because I feel like the last time they wrestled, it felt like they went back and forth and then Trick hit and Sammy was kicking the crap out of him and then Trick just hit a trick shot and it was over. You know, I really want to see both guys kicking the shit out of each other. So yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe as much as. But if Sammy goes heel and going heel isn't enough to get him the win, then what? I don't know. So
well, I think that he should turn heel after the fact.
Okay.
I think that Sammy should just beat the shit out of Trick and Lil Yachty, to be honest with you. I think that the crowd, because look, what a lot of people are going to remember when the heel turn inevitably happens is how the crowd reacts. And the crowds already don't like Sammy. They're ready for something new. And so if the crowd is so behind Trick and so against Sammy and you lean into it enough, you can almost have what they call that double turn where Sammy loses and Trick wins, but after the fact, you get Sammy to beat the hell out of both of them with a chair or something and leaves both of them laying. And so Sammy lost, yeah, but at the end of the day, he stood tall. And so now you've got heel Sammy who doesn't care that he's getting booed. And now you've got Trick Williams, who is very confident, but now has at least a little bit of a reason for you to be sympathetic towards him. So it's like he's got the confidence now that you can like, and then slowly you can see Trick slowly transition into more of a confident babyface instead of that confident heel. And maybe you can always just keep Trick like as a tweener. He can just be a little in between at all times. He's not necessarily a babyface, not necessarily a heel. He is just confident and knows how good he is, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, Booker T did that for a long time in his career, and Trick has even been very outspoken about how big of a fan he was of Booker T. And then in NXT, the Booker T and Trick connection, you know, it's just it was all there. And so I don't think that Trick obviously has to be a babyface to get cheered because we've seen that this whole time. You know, the crowd has been behind him this whole time. So I do think that after the match, maybe we do see a situation where Sammy does turn heel. Maybe he goes to maybe he gets beat and he tries to do the honorable thing and offer a handshake, and Trick's like, why would I shake hands with you? I've beaten you twice in a row. And maybe that's what finally sets Sammy off, and he just gets pissed and he just attacks and beats the hell out of both of them and leaves them both laying because the audience loves Trick. The audience loves Lil Yachty. The audience doesn't love Sammy. It doesn't matter what we label them as. I mean, look at the El Grande Americano dynamic from Mexico to the U.S., and now that's bleeding over a little bit into the U.S. So it doesn't matter what we label them as at home. If they have tendencies and the audience loves them, and then Sammy does that, the audience is going to hate him even more. And so, and then Sammy's going to continue seeing himself as the good guy and how he's disrespected and stuff. And so I think it could work. But again, like I said, I think Trick has to win here for sure. For sure.
I guess, like I said, I'm with you that Sammy could go heel after the match, but if he goes heel after the match and he hits Trick and Lil Yachty or something, I feel like then we're still continuing that storyline. Like it's not going to end right there. Now, if something happens like after the match, he's backstage and like, let's say CM Punk is there because Danhausen or something, and he beats the hell out of Punk who's trying to talk to him or something like that. I don't know.
See, I'm with you, but I would have had it have been Cody.
Okay, Cody.
Done that too. But now Cody's wrapped up with Gunther,
Well, I don't know if Cody's going to be a Backlash even, or what impetus Cody would have to be a Backlash.
If Cody wasn't wrapped up in Gunther, I would have said Sammy could have done this like on a future SmackDown. Maybe Sammy comes out and he's talking about how nobody respects him and he deserves all this respect, so on and so forth. Then he can be interrupted by Cody and he can just lose it and snap on Cody or something like that. But now that Cody's intertwined with Gunther, I don't know. It feels like Sammy has to turn heel on Trick. And just, I agree with you that in a way it feels like maybe there would still be something hung on, but Sammy has no weight left to stand on. He had lost twice in a row. He lost his title and then lost the rematch.
Right.
You don't really have a chance or a choice to move on. So I don't really know, man. I feel like maybe after that, Sammy would just kind of be in like some mid-card title or feud until he's ready to move on from the world title picture and that's cleared out. But Sammy's got to go heel and Trick's got to win.
I think the biggest issue is that Sammy's not going to go heel. We need him to, but it's just not going to happen. WWE's not going to do it. Sammy's not going to do it, whatever. We're not going to get the heel turn that we should get. I think that's the biggest issue probably with this match. But yeah, let it be the end of it and then figure out what to do with Sami Zayn if he's not a heel, because I know what you do. I don't know what you do with Sami Zayn right now. I feel like the only way you make Sami Zayn interesting is as a heel. WWE.
I don't want to speak this into existence with everything that's going on with TKO right now. It makes me a little nervous. I just really hope that Sammy's not one of the next guys released.
That for 100, yeah.
Yeah, because with a guy that feels like he's got nothing going right now after this feud is over, and I would imagine Sammy's been there so long, he's probably making a decent bit of money at this point. I wouldn't be shocked if maybe his salaries are one of the ones that's shed in the next few weeks if they do more releases. Fingers crossed not, but...
How heartbreaking would that be if Sammy has been out there the last couple nights asking, like, where are my Sami Zayn lovers? And nobody's cheering. And he's like, I just need some of you to cheer. KO said, I got to have some of you. Please. Some of you. Damn it. Don't buy into this. I know I'm in this Trick Williams storyline, but you still love me.
Right? You guys still love me, right? Yeah. And that reminds me, we won't spend too long on it because we got to get to this main event. But one other name that I've seen a lot of people throw around because he was on social media recently, and look, I don't think it's happening. I'm fairly convinced this guy's probably not going to wrestle ever again, sadly, because he's one of my favorites. But one of the Danhausen mystery partners that I've seen a lot of people talking about, I'm surprised he's not, at least in the betting odds, is Kevin Owens. I've seen Kevin Owens maybe being that guy that returns because him and The Miz have history, so on and so forth. So, look, I don't see Kevin Owens showing up. But
as much as I'd love Kevin Owens to show up, if he's showing up unannounced, I just don't think it's at Backlash. I feel like they're going to save that pop for something bigger, but maybe not.
Backlash. Backlash. I don't have my sunglasses, but the way Edge did it, he'd Backlash.
Sky Rizzy.
Yeah. Let's get into the main event of Backlash. We've got for the World Heavyweight Championship, Jacob Fatu is challenging Roman Reigns, cousin versus cousin, bloodline versus bloodline. Matt, this has got a little convoluted over the last few weeks, especially with this Jacob Fatu phone call now being thrown into the mix. And our first pod that we did after WrestleMania, I told you that I felt there was a good chance that Jacob Fatu could end up being next to the Usos after this was all said and done. And I feel like there's an even higher chance that happens now. I feel like maybe on the other end of that phone call might have been Jimmy or Jey Uso. And now that we know that guys are taking pay cuts, Roman Reigns has apparently been pulled from all his June dates when he just told us he was going to be here all summer. Now, I guess you can get out of that by technicality and say, well, we don't consider the summertime to start until July. So whatever. And then Roman's here for July and August, and you're like, see, he was here all summer. But especially with him having those June dates pulled, and maybe they're just trying to pull a fast one on us. I feel like the chances for Jacob Fatu to walk out here with the World Heavyweight Championship are higher than they were a few weeks ago. And I was already high on Jacob Fatu walking out with this championship. And now in a situation where it feels like maybe Roman is going to be off of TV for a while, and maybe Jimmy and Jay, while they are defending their cousin Roman against Jacob, maybe Jimmy and Jay don't necessarily agree with the way that Roman is handling things so far. And especially if we see a situation where Jacob maybe doesn't squash Roman, but wins in a pretty convincing fashion, maybe we see the Usos be like, does Roman still got it? And so then when Roman does come back, his cousins have turned their back on him, and Jacob Fatu is the world champion. And now you've got somebody for him to topple. Roman can be an even bigger babyface coming out of that and coming back in the summer. And again, he's going to be working less dates, it seems like. So give me Jacob Fatu to win this year. I feel like the Usos are probably the mystery callers. If not, maybe like a Zilla Fatu or another family member that we haven't been introduced to yet. Maybe it's a Solo Sikoa. I really don't know. But if you're making me put money on it, gun to my head, I'm saying it's the Usos. And at the end of it, we're all looking around and we're like, what the hell? Jacob Fatu and the Usos are standing over Roman Reigns to end Backlash. So give me Jacob Fatu to win here and become the new World Heavyweight Champion. And give me the Usos in some form or fashion being the guys that were on the end of the phone call, if we ever even get an answer to that. Because WWE just likes to abandon storylines, especially ones that revolve around Jacob Fatu. So, give me Fatu.
Who kicked in the teeth? Who kicked in the teeth?
We'll never know, dude. We're never going to know.
We're never gonna
so
know
yeah, give me Jacob Fatu, and if we do find out at Backlash who the mystery caller was or is or were, give me the Usos.
Yeah. The mystery caller thing, I guess we'll see if they play it up on SmackDown tonight, because I missed it. I don't know how many people saw it. So how important to the storyline is it? For a second there, I thought he was just talking to his family, like his kids. Like, what if he's just talking to his kids? I love you guys. I'm doing this for you. I thought that for a second, but I could see the Usos kind of turning on Roman during this match, and then I could see afterwards like them turning on Fatu. I could see Fatu winning this match, and like Jay then immediately super kicking Jacob in the face or something. Or I can see it even splitting the Usos, where Jimmy takes Roman's side and Jay takes Jacob's side, and then Jay tries to run it. Because right now, Jay just seems like an addict, like he's on like 17 different substances. Like he can't keep his life straight. Like he'd do anything for a fix, I mean, Jay just seems like he's out there ever since he's lost the title, back a year ago or whatever it was. Jay has not seemed centered, and Jimmy's tried to center him, and it hasn't seemed to really work. It's worked a little bit. He's kind of caged the dog. They went and got the tag titles for a minute, but then right back to, and now they're back to like all the way in the past where, like you said, like where they're following Roman again, and that's like a super sign of like, regression. So I just wonder if Jay's just losing it, man. And I wonder how much of that is kayfabe and how much of that is real life, because I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that it feels like everything is going back to the way it used to be tells me that it's not. Tells me that there's something on the horizon that is going to, like, for the first time in, let's say, 8 years for Roman, right? He's finally like, I'm with my family, I'm comfortable. And like, he understands the gravity of holding that title, but in a way, Roman's kind of letting his guard down in terms of like, he knows he has his cousins behind his back. And it almost feels like Roman is getting too comfortable for the storyline to just be, well, the bloodline is back together. And it feels like we're getting set up for Roman to be like stabbed in the back, a Caesar type of situation here, where at the end of it, he's looking up at his cousins on the ramp and he's like, you did this to me. I can't believe you did this to me. Like, and it's like on the other side of it, maybe some of us can't believe that the Usos would turn on Roman Reigns. But the other half of us are like, well, we remember the reign of Roman, no pun intended. We remember what it was like for Roman to be world champion for almost 4 years. And we remember how he treated his cousins during that reign. Like, at the end of the day, it's not that crazy that maybe they're kind of over Roman stuff. And they see the writing on the wall. And while Jacob may be unhinged, he's at least not trying to control them like Roman was. Again, we've talked about it a lot. Roman still has never apologized to the Usos, has never acknowledged, for as much as Roman wants to acknowledge, Roman has never acknowledged what he did to his cousins in the right way, you know? So, yeah. Sorry, I just wanted to throw that in.
Yeah, no. So, but I can see like so I can see at the end. I'm taking Jacob to win, but I'm taking like Jay to stand tall at the end of the night, you know, sort of thing. I feel like it's going to be one of those. Like I feel there's going to be all sorts of betrayal maybe at the end of the night. Like I said, that you're going to think Jay's with Jimmy and Roman, and then something happens, and all of a sudden Jay's on Fatu's side. Fatu wins, and then all of a sudden Jay's on top, and he's like, roll my music back. And we're just yeeting as the executive producer, Paul Levesque, comes up, you know, I mean, and everybody's just laid out. Everybody's laid out in the ring, and he's just yeeting over all of them.
God, we need to be done with the yeeting, but
it's evil yeeting, though. It's evil yeeting now. I mean, he's total heel now.
He seems to be winning the crowd back over, because now every time he's done talking, you hear the huge yeet through the whole.
Oh yeah, no, again. Well, he's like I said. Well, I feel like that's because Jimmy's taking control of the tag team when it comes to who works the mic, right? I mean, yeah. Jay now, like I said, he seems kind of like the pit bull on a chain. Like you're just waiting to let him go, you know. And like I said, I don't know if that's kayfabe or if he's really, but he seems he's been playing a man who's losing it for the last year pretty nicely. I've been pretty impressed with this guy who's barely got it together and should probably have been a heel like 6 months ago, but somehow has been holding on to this face mentality. I'm ready for Jey Uso to go full heel, man. I don't know if he's been full heel before, but I'm ready for like full Jey Uso heel run.
Just in a tag team with his brother, really. I would like to see a situation where eventually, when we're finally ready to put all the bloodline stuff to bed, at least in its current iteration, like a fatal 4-way or a 5-way where it's like Jimmy, Jay, Roman, Solo, Jacob. And we just, you know, it's like the bloodline battle or something, however they'll coin it, where it's like elimination style. Whoever is left is like the tribal chief or whatever. And I don't know how you would do that, but at some point we got to wrap all this up. And
I mean, I guess, I mean, love it or hate it, I feel like, you know, Jacob Fatu has made it interesting again, because I feel like there's 3 factions. There's the Roman, there's the Jacob by himself, and then there's the Solo. And it's kind of this interesting bridge between all 3 of them where like it could happen at any time, you know. And
the Solo one seems to be dissipating right in front of our very eyes.
It does to a degree. Stuff. To a degree, yeah, it does. It sucks that we lost JC Mateo, who I think was so much fun, dude. Like his Tour of the Islands or whatever that move was called.
Yeah.
So great. How this guy didn't get over, like I said, hated the name, JC Mateo. And then I don't know if he ever got on the mic, you know.
I don't think so.
Yeah, so, you know, poor guy never really got a chance, but I loved all of his moves. He was great. He was a lot of fun to watch. The way, like I said, he's one of the most agile squat big men I've seen, you know?
Well, and if you think that way about him now, again, another guy that I think WWE was just too late on. You should have seen him 7 to 8 years ago when he was, I feel like 5 to 6 years ago was probably Jeff Cobb's prime, and whenever he was really at his best. Again, another guy that I feel like WWE was just late to. Tama Tonga as well. I really feel like the Tongans should have been in the WWE realistically maybe 10 years ago. Like that, they were peak peak tag team wrestling in Japan for the longest time. And for the longest time, Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa were as God, Gorillas of Destiny, were considered the best tag team in the world by many. So some guys that I feel like WWE just pulled the trigger on really late, and JC Mateo, again, one of those guys that I feel like was just too late to the party. He got the invitation too late.
Probably. And then, like you said, then you got Tala Tonga, and that dude, I mean, I hope they use that guy right. Because like I said, I'd love to see him and like Obafemi go up, you know, soon, or him. And I love these 7-footers, man, who can move, you know. So really, I hope that works out. But regardless, I mean, Solo's still got Tala Tonga. And which one has he got? Tonga Loa, or has he got Tala Tonga? Which one?
Tama Tonga.
Yeah. But which were the 2 that got released? JC or
JC
Cobb
and Tonga Loa.
Tonga Loa. Okay. So anyway, so he's got Tama Tonga still. And that guy, wasn't that guy like kind of trying to go solo on his own against Solo, right? Like was he the
Tala?
one who was like No, Tonga
is, yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, was he like taking like, no, we need
That's
to
what
get
I'm saying.
the lantern back.
That's what I'm
But that
saying. Like Solo's group is like dissipating right in
well,
front
right,
of
but
us. Yeah.
but there's another split even. So now it's like a 4-way maybe even. Or what if him and Jacob?
I think
pair
Tama.
up?
I think whenever Solo's group is done, Tama and Tala are going to go be a tag team together or something
Okay,
like that.
right,
I think, or maybe Tama Tonga's just in the U.S. title scene. I think that he's going to be done with the bloodline stuff whenever he's all said and done. Yeah.
but like I said, it's just I feel like right now with Jacob making it the connection between that and the drama that's happening with the MFTs and then the drama that could be happening with the OG bloodline or wherever the hell we're calling Roman. I am interested. Is it almost over? It may be, but Jacob, at least for me, has put new fire into it that I didn't think existed anymore.
Yeah.
So as long as Fatu is the centerpiece, which we both believe he's going to win, so he should be, I can see it rolling on for a little while longer.
All right, well, we've got to wrap up these Backlash predictions. So we both got Jacob Fatu winning, becoming the new World Heavyweight Champion. We'll see what the fallout of all that is and all that. But Backlash, we are ready for Backlash this weekend. Backlash, it's Backlash.
Backlash. Backlash.
Backlash.
Backlash.
Backlash.
Backlash.
What was the medicine you said?
Sky Rizzy.
Sky Rizzy? Sky Rizzy. Yeah. All right.
My plexarisis is fine. Sky Rizzy.
Those have been our Backlash predictions. If you haven't checked out our video about the WWE releases, go check that out as well. These should be coming out around the same time. What did you think? What do you think about the matches coming up at Backlash this weekend? Let us know in the predictions. Who's going to be Danhausen's mystery partner? Is it going to be John Cena? You let us know in the comments. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit the noti bell. Go check us out on all of our socials. Go check out Impossible Octopus Culture Corner over on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And make sure you drop a like on all the videos, share it with your friends, and hit that repost button on all platforms every time you see one of our shorts or reels or whatever. Get it out to more people and audiences. But until next time, this has been TK Wrestling. These have been our Backlash 2026 predictions, and we are out of here.